Hi, y'all. I'm Julie. I'm a trauma-informed adoptee coach and somatic healing guide. After overcoming deep abandonment wounds, I now help adult adoptees move from feeling lost and disconnected to experiencing profound self-belonging. I know what it is like to carry the weight of abandonment, to feel stuck in patterns of longing, adapting, and searching for belonging. To have tried every healing modality available and come up empty. My own healing has taught me this. The answers aren't out there, they're buried within me, and I'm here to guide you home to yourself. The Resilience Project podcast brings voice, visibility, and validation to the parts of adoption society rarely names, but all of us feel. Through an trauma-informed somatic lens, I explore the lived experiences of the entire adoption constellation with a tender emphasis on the adoptee experience. This podcast goes beyond storytelling into soul-telling. It offers embodied insight, compassionate education, and a path towards awareness, hope, and strength. Each episode invites listeners to understand adoption more deeply, not just with the mind, but with the nervous system, and to reconnect with the truth, identity, and belonging that were always yours to come home to. Welcome. Hi, friends. Today's episode is a little different. And honestly, it needed to be. What you're about to hear is a very real, very unfiltered conversation between three women who love each other deeply and are navigating our own layers of grief in real time. We didn't script it, we didn't plan it, and we definitely didn't polish it. We just let ourselves be human together. As many of you know from last week's episode on grief, I've been moving through the 2-year anniversary of my divorce. One of my best friends, Becky, is walking through fresh grief of losing her mom. And my other dear friend, Erin, found herself reactivated in her own story. She lost both of her parents around 2 years ago, in succession, her dad and her mom. So what unfolded was a conversation that felt important enough to bring here, because grief touches all of us, whether we're ready for it or not. We recorded this here in Quinta in 3 separate rooms with beautiful sunshine behind the mountains and a whole lot of emotion between us. And my hope is that as you listen, you feel like you're sitting right here with us, not alone in whatever grief you're carrying right now. And I want to make a shout out to our other friend, Courtney, who couldn't be with us, but her presence was very, very felt in our time together. If grief has been knocking at your door, or if you've been trying really hard not to feel what is asking to be felt, this episode is for you. Let's step into it together.
Let's talk about grief. Let's talk about grief. I mean, we would probably be sitting here talking about this. Well, for context, we're all in the same house, right? We are all literally in the same house in different rooms. Me and Becky traveled all the way across the country to be here with Julie. And we were already planning this before Becky's mom passed away. And it just happened to coincide with everything that's going on and has just been the best gift. If you follow Becky online, her and I actually went to Seattle first and got to spend 2.5 days in Seattle. And now we're here for the week with Julie. And we've just been talking about grief. And I'm so excited to be able to have this conversation with you guys because we'd be having it anyways, whether we were recording it or not. I don't even know where to start, you guys. Like, I guess maybe we should give some background in where we're all at. So, Julie, you want to do the dang thing?
I guess I'm taking it off. Well, it's really interesting. I don't think there are any coincidences. I think there's plenty of synchronicities that we're all experiencing together. The timing of this trip couldn't have been more perfect for all of us and what we're actually experiencing. I am at a whole new phase in my life. What I'm personally experiencing is I'm working through some divorce grief for the first time. My 2-year divorce anniversary was literally the day before you two got here. And I realized that, and it's amazing, like the perfection of the timing of you guys coming now when I was trying to work through that. And there's just been a lot of interesting things leading up to that, but that's kind of where I am right now, is for the first time really wanting to face that and let it go.
So powerful. Yeah, I kind of am experiencing different layers of grief myself right now. It's so interesting. Like you said, just the synchronicities of the timing of this trip. And one of the things that we've talked a lot about is just our friend group and how we really allow like different layers of grief. There's space for everyone to have emotions, to have feelings, to have thoughts, to have all of the things. And so my personal grief, I have actually lost both of my parents back to back. My dad to cancer and my mom to frontotemporal dementia. And that was 2.5 years ago. It just, grief process has been interesting. And it's walking with Becky, who just lost her mom. Obviously, you guys know from Alzheimer's. Just like, it's very interesting this trip and like being with her and sitting with her in her grief, how much it re-triggered,
Activated.
reactivated. Grief was, I'm at different phases of grief and different seasons and, all of that stuff. Because for those of you guys have lost somebody that is near to you or divorce or something like that, that's like a living death, right? Like, that there's different phases to this process. And I'm just grateful to be walking with you guys with this.
So grateful to be together right now.
Yeah, thank you for leading it off. I asked them if they could start this off just because I'm still feeling hermity and just quiet in spirit and recluse, understandably. And I've been checking in with myself and feeling out what my capacity is. And I took 2 weeks off of work. And since coming here to California with you guys, I've eased back into a couple intentional appointments that feel life-giving. And this was one that I decided, I have so many archived podcasts I could have aired, but I was like, none of them feel appropriate right now. We've been, laughing and crying. And what's relevant right now, I think, for so many is the topic of grief and the holidays, whether you've gone through big stuff lately or not. My old counselor always said, when the world celebrates, grief shouts louder. I'm just grateful for how much I felt held by you both already this week. Spoiled. You guys aren't letting me cook. Erin let me cook breakfast today, and I messed up her eggs, but this is why I shouldn't be doing
it. You didn't mess them up. They were fine. 2 out of 3 were good. And I ate them all.
We're blowing through Julie's eggs. She's like, I didn't know people ate so many eggs. I'm like, yeah,
we got protein goals. Oh yeah. I mean, it's just so interesting how grief shows up so different for everybody, right? And like how it shows up different in your body and somatically trained that we all are. How do you guys find that right now in this season specifically? Because I know that we can talk about it in different seasons, but how have you guys noticed grief showing up for you in your bodies this week?
I was telling Sebastian on the phone today, I just feel, if I were to pick the F response in flop mode, my body just feels immobilized. And we were talking about originally when we planned this trip, how fun it would be to do funny reels and TikToks, and just telling you, Erin, it would take so much energy. I can't. I'm floppy right now. So noticing that, and waves of the words you gave was untethered. It's this untethered feeling in my body. It's like a cavity in my upper abdomen. It feels like this hollow hole. And I was just feeling into that today, and I wrote down in my journal, I'm having a bit of an identity crisis. Like, who am I? Who is this version of me without parents? I don't know her yet. I don't know if I want to know her. That feels like a lot. So a lot of weight on my chest and heat in my chest. My throat has felt closed at different points, just wishing I could express and call my mom and talk to her and stuff, letting the tears flow when they need. And you've seen when I was in Seattle, the extreme crash out, just going from extreme crying to crazy laughing and back and forth. It just feels like a wild time in my body.
Yeah. There's no rhyme or reason, right? You just have to ride the waves. And that's one of the things I kept after Becky crashed out and we kind of leveled. She was, so what encouragement can you give? Like, what, I've been walking through this for the last 2.5 years. She's like, what words of wisdom do you have? And I said, honestly, just ride the waves and give yourself so much grace. When you're somatically trained and we have all this education behind trauma work and trying to understand things, we want things to make sense and we want to put things in order and we want to like make it make sense. And that's really what our body's trying to do after loss, especially a loss of a parent. And when it's your last parent on earth that you've lost, like the untethered feeling, this is what I've been walking through for like 2.5 years. I didn't realize it was an identity crisis until maybe a year and a half ago. I cared for my parents for 10 years and I can totally resonate with you, Becky, with what you were talking. But the advice is like, just like ride the waves and don't shame yourself. Like give space for whatever is needed, because it's just, our body has never experienced that level of loss before.
Or it's, I do know what I need. I just want my mom back, and that's not possible. So it's like, okay, what else? I don't know. I just need to be present with this, or not, or distract myself and binge the Kardashians.
I think too, when I was really crashing out, I would always turn on the Bible app and let the Bible app just play in the background. Sometimes I didn't even have capacity to read the word because it just felt like I was so angry and I was mad and I was sad. And so I don't have the capability to even read the Bible, but I can listen to the Bible and I can just lay there and cry or crash out or whatever is needed in those moments.
Yeah. I actually do that too. I was doing that while I was cooking today. It's interesting the way you guys both described the untethered feeling. It's the same for me, but from a reverse. For me, you've lost somebody on this other side, and so you feel untethered to a parent. I came into the world untethered. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's interesting as you guys are talking, and the words you're using are words I use currently for the trauma that I've held in my body. I don't have words for it. It's really challenging for me to try to figure it out and even allow it to move through my body, because I don't even know what my body needs because I was a baby. So I just have to allow myself to be present with myself in those moments, to allow myself to just go, this is heavy. And for me, the way that I describe it is it truly feels like there's an elephant sitting on my chest when this stuff happens. And Becky and I've had this conversation, I'm sure you and I have too, Erin, where I feel like, and this isn't common for me, but when grief shows up, this is exactly what happens and how it shows up. I can't breathe deeply. I usually can, but when I feel that, I can only breathe to about here. Like there's no depth to my breathing. And it takes me a bit to really be able to move through that and give it the space that it needs. It's the whole idea of sitting Shiva with yourself. As friends, we do that for each other. We allow whatever to be present. It's been so cool to be together during this time that we couldn't have imagined it the way that it is now. We didn't know this is how it was going to be, or that the anniversaries would be here, or that the death would have happened. None of that. We knew none of that, right? But I think what's so cool about this is, Erin, you talked about this earlier. We've been checking in with each other constantly. Like, okay, what do you need? Can I get you anything? What's going on? But it's not hyper or anxious. It's just, I want to make sure that you feel tethered here now to these relationships and be able to have the love that you need. And I know there's been a couple of situations where, Beck, you can talk about this even better if you want to, but for both of us, where she has said to us, I just don't have capacity right now for that. What's interesting about that is we can go to this immediate guilt, shame feeling of, I should have capacity. These are my best friends. I should be able to hold space from them. But the cool thing about our relationship is we're like, no problem. Totally get it. No judgment here. I'm getting the chills even thinking about this, that we can have that kind of relationship in our grief is huge.
Yeah, those were two big moments for me this week. When I was in Seattle with Erin, and we took turns. I crashed out night 1. She crashed out night 2. I think all my grief is just bringing up her stuff on a whole new level. So I immediately started to notice resistance in my body when she started to cry, and noticed myself pull away and notice shame come up of, oh my gosh, I want to be able to be present for her. She was so comforting to me last night, but I don't think I have capacity. So it felt brave and edgy for me to say that. I was like, Erin, I'm afraid that I'm not going to be able to show up for you in the way that you showed up for me last night. And as soon as I said that, you were like, I don't expect that. Like, I don't need anything. I don't expect anything from you. I'm just moving through all of this. And same with Julie too. She was uploading a podcast for the first time ever. She speaks publicly about her divorce. And I know how big of a deal that is. And she asked Becky, do you want to listen to this part? And normally I'd be like, oh my gosh, yes, let me hold space. And I said, to be honest, Julie, I don't have capacity right now. She's like, then don't go. And I just went outside and I read my book by the pond.
Bye.
Yeah, get out of here, girl.
You can see the difference between the two of us. Like, I'm like, go do what you got to do. And Erin's like, it's okay, no problem. It's so interesting because I got the opportunity to be with Mama Didi before she passed, and walking in within 24 hours of her passing, I knew that this is the trajectory of where we were headed. And it was just even in that moment, Becky reflected back to me that I acted so fake when I walked in because I was just trying to like hold it together. And she asked me how I was, and my lip quivered, and then I cried. But that was such a beautiful moment for Courtney, who's not with us on this podcast, but she's our fourth member of the Four Musketeers, the Sister Chicks.
Yeah, get that right, man. We're the Sister Chicks.
We are the Sister Chicks, deemed per Julie. So I vetoed that name, but it has stuck. And so here we are. What I'm learning about myself, even through my own grief, is after caregiving for my parents for so long, I was always so positive through that experience. And I was always like, we're going to figure this out. And because we had to, right? Like there was no other option. I was the primary caregiver. We had to do it. Everything that Becky was going through, and she was loving listening to her mom. And I just was so envious. We were walking around and all of a sudden I was getting dizzy and nauseous. It was just this realization that I was envious of the time that Becky had and got to be her mom's daughter in the dementia caregiving journey, rather than having to be the one that was like primarily responsible for everything. And I was angry, I was mad, I was sad, I was all of these things, but it like didn't hit me until now. I think I'm still wrapping my mind around it. You know, like I journaled like 10 pages on the plane between Seattle and California, trying to unpack like that. It just has been so big, you know, and I felt terrible when it was happening because literally as you, Becky, were having that same moment where you're like, I can't show up for Erin how she needs me to. I'm like, I cannot crush out right now. I think there was part of me that was like feeling those feelings for a couple hours before it happened. And I just was like, Erin, through, like, you can do this, like we can do all the things that Becky wants to do. We can, because this was like your stomping ground, you know? And so I wanted to show up for you in that way. So I probably should have spoke earlier what I needed, but I just didn't know.
And it was amazing how quickly the energetic barrier dissolved as soon as I got honest and you got honest. I was like, this is my shame showing up, and I'm afraid of fill in the blank, and you saying I'm actually envious. And as soon as we were honest, you know, I was like, oh my God, I feel a complete energetic connection again. I'm not feeling the avoidance. I'm not feeling the resistance. So it's really relieving.
How did we foster this? Like, this has been 2 years in the making.
I don't think we realized how intentional it would become. We made it that way. That's what I was saying to you guys yesterday. We have intentionally made it something that has become scaffolding and support and sustainability for us. We text each other every day. We send pictures. I'm getting better at that. One of the things that's hard for me is interdependence. I think I've grown in that, but we've made this a priority because we know it's needed. It's needed in all of our lives. So in my experience, having people who you can be raw, real, vulnerable, like the whole crash out situation that you guys had, even some of the stuff that I've shared with you guys this week that is not something I'm ready to share publicly yet, but you know, I've shared a lot that has just been crazy. And what I realized when you were talking, Erin, you guys have asked me multiple times, are you okay? How are you doing? How are you feeling? I realized when Becky was talking about being in flop, I think I'm in freeze.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to deal with the reality of what is being presented to me right now.
Yeah.
And I wish I could talk more about it. I just can't. But
I will say the tea is piping hot, people. But our jaw was on everyone's.
Literally.
The whole thing about that is, again, this is where God comes into the picture so much, even including court. It's this, he knew exactly what we needed and the timing of all of this. I mean, the day that I found out that my divorce was final is tomorrow, and you guys are going to be here. The day it was actually final was the day before you got here. That's craziness. And I didn't even dawn on me. So again, it's like we have this beautiful umbrella over us that's taking care of us. And why do we worry about these things? Being present with each other in all of this has been probably one of the deepest, most amazing gifts that we could have for each other in this time.
And when we were planning this trip, my mom was doing fine at that point. We didn't know she was about to die. So when she started to decline, it was a week before the trip. And at the time, it felt funny to whisper in her ear, "Hey, Mom, I want you to know I will surprise you no matter what. If I need to cancel a trip, I will be here with you until the end. But I have a trip coming up to Seattle, so I'm going to let you do with that information what you wish." She just was my mom until the end. We don't have time on this podcast to go into it. Maybe I will another day. But it really felt like the timing that my mom even decided to let go at a time where she knew this would be the most healing thing.
Yeah.
And she's been with you. You've had little glimpses of her everywhere you've been. It's the coolest thing.
So many butterflies today.
Love it. I mean, but I think what's so interesting, because I made this post the other day about how in friendship, when grief cracks us wide open, your friends sit with you in the cracks. I just thought it was so beautiful. But it's so interesting to me because like in one breath, we're laughing, and the next breath, we're crying. There's so much shame that can show up or guilt that can show up. Even Becky, when we were in Seattle, you're like, am I allowed to be having a good time right now? Am I allowed to have joy? Especially right now, we're dealing with the holidays. This is such a heavy time for a lot of people that their holidays don't look like they truly desire, whether that's because of loss or divorce or life circumstances or illness, so many different things. It can be so hard to find joy in the middle when everything seems so bleak and you don't even want other people sometimes around you to be laughing. Like, how dare you laugh? Like, I'm mourning. When grief is so heavy, your world stops, feeling like everyone around me is just moving at regular pace and going at a light speed. And I feel like I can barely tie my shoes. I don't even know how I can function. But then there's moments where I'm laughing with my friends. We have to normalize that and understand it doesn't have to be either or.
You're totally right. Like Becky and I have talked about this too, and I think I've mentioned it to you, Erin. There's a duality in a lot of things that we experience. And I know in the adoptee spaces, we hold joy and we hold grief. We hold grief and we hold gratitude. They can coexist at the same time. I haven't lost the mom that raised me. You guys have. So I don't know what that lived experience is like, but I can sit with you in it. I've lost a birth mother, but I wasn't connected to her. So there's a piece that I don't know. I don't have that lived experience, just like you don't have the lived experience of what I've gone through with the whole adoptee stuff and the divorce and all. You don't have that, but it doesn't matter. The point is that we're able to accept that and not try to judge it, change it, just because we don't understand it. And I think there's something so amazing in being seen in that, whether we have experienced it or not.
I think people are just trying to fix people, right? They're not comfortable enough to sit with their own emotions, let alone sitting with somebody else's emotions. So all they want to do is make it better. My biggest pet peeve is when I see somebody crying and somebody hands them a tissue. Like, let them feel their emotions. When you're handing someone a tissue, you're basically telling them to stop crying.
Stop crying, yeah.
And I know in their mind, they're like, oh, they don't want to get tears everywhere. But essentially what you're saying to that person's body is stop crying. And that's their ability to release. Stop trying to fix people that are grieving. So if you're not grieving, sit with them, be present with them, take them a meal, go wash their toilets, do their dishes. It doesn't have to be this big monumental gesture.
When everything happened with Becky, we were pulling what can we do? How can we support her? And we just sent her snacks. We just send her snacks to her doorstep. I mean, it's just, you show up and there's a way that you can do that. It's being with them, knowing what their favorite things are, having people around them that know them so that you can take care of them without them even realizing what they need. Because in these spaces, we don't know. Like Becky said, I don't know what to ask for. I don't know what I need. I just know right now, I don't want to do anything. It's like, perfect. We'll be with you in that, and we'll take care of everything else. We'll feed you. We won't clothe you unless you need us to do that. But yeah.
One thing that I loved after my mom died is some people would say, hey, I would love to help. Here's 3 things that I can do for you. Tell me which one feels best. Because I think sometimes when people say, let me know what you need, that's too big. That's too big when you're in the middle of grief.
Yeah, even before grief. I'm a Manny Gen on human design, so I don't do well with open-ended questions. So if we're going to a restaurant, I need you to say, do you want Thai or Mexican? And I will know the answer. But yeah, when Courtney texted me, can I start a meal train for you? My initial reaction was no. Like, I didn't just push out a baby. I'm a grown woman who lost her parents. Every grown-up loses their parents at some point. And then I had coffee the day after my mom died with a friend of mine who just lost her husband unexpectedly. We just had a cry fest together over coffee. And she was like, girl, you need to receive. If people are offering things to you, do not block it. Do not reject it, even if it seems so petty. I was like, okay, Courtney, I will. I changed my mind. I'll do the meal train. And then it came in so clutch. Like, I didn't know what was up, what was down. My insides felt like they were on my outsides. It was, especially the first 3 days, the most excruciating pain I've ever felt in my life. Couldn't think straight. And then I'd have somebody be like, hey, I'm bringing over enchiladas. I'm on my way. And I was like, I forgot. Thank you. I didn't even think about dinner yet. So I'm so grateful. And the snacks you sent me, oh my gosh, I'm not like brand ambassador, but the Cloud Popcorn by Khloe Kardashian. It's protein popcorn, the white cheddar. It tastes like a fluffy cloud. I'm not even a popcorn person. I ate the whole bag.
I love it.
It was very good.
Yeah, we had to get some while we were here too, because it's so good.
And we ate the whole bag. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the beautiful thing about our friendship is there's room for everything. We have cultivated that. That didn't come naturally. And I think about all the monthly quality time hangouts, whoever initiated it wasn't me, and
It was
FaceTime.
Erin.
And I would be like, yeah, I'll hop on our call on the way to the soccer game. Erin would be like, Becky, I need quality time. I need you to be present, face to camera. And like,
She's trying to fit us in on her way to soccer, though. Like, literally, she's like, I have 10 minutes on the way to soccer. I'm like, girl, you're driving. Stop it.
It was inconvenient sometimes, but now I'm like, I'm so glad we stuck to that and we cultivated that. And whoever's strength it was to make that happen, not mine. Like, I still showed up.
It's my bossy 8.
Yeah.
It totally is Erin. I mean, she definitely wanted it. And I think also, Erin, you prayed for it. It was just something that you didn't know how it would drop into your path. But when it did, you realize this is what I've been looking for. I want this. And it's crazy. You and I are the ones that have known each other the least amount of time. And we've probably slept together the most.
And I would never be friends with you. So there's that.
Right. There is that. There is that. And that has been proven incorrect. FYI.
Which is funny. I never put that together, but same with me and Courtney. When we first met, it was a bad first impression of each other, and we were like, we'll never be friends. Did you know that, Julie?
No.
I didn't know that either.
Karen O'May from church introduced us at a Women's Day. She was trying to cupid us, like, oh, you're the 2 new girls. You guys will hit it off. And my impression of her, because she wasn't making eye contact. I was trying to talk to her, and she's looking everywhere but in my eyes. I'm like,
so insecure.
This is like a super hot, pretty girl who thinks she's too good for me, has no interest in me. And she had heard I just came off staff working for a church ministry, and she had this idea that I was too good for her, whatever. But then we trauma bonded, and the rest is history. She's a great example, too, of what we've all cultivated here, which is there's room for everyone, even on important days. On the way to her wedding, I remember I was having a terrible weekend in my marriage that day, and she sensed it. It was me and her on the way to the ceremony, and she's like, Becky, what's up, spill? And I was like, no, it's your wedding day, I'm happy, let's go. And she's like, I'm fine, I'm good, tell me what's on your heart. And I'm snot-nosed crying to her on the way to her own wedding, and then we wrapped it up and we did the dang thing. But I'm like, oh, this is such a gift.
No, it totally is. That's so interesting because on Saturday, when I was driving back from Phoenix, and you guys FaceTimed me in to your time with Mama Didi, and I got to say goodbye to her then too. I immediately, and again, least amount of time with Erin, immediately went, oh, crap, is Erin okay? There's a first thing that went through my head. And I wasn't on the phone very long with y'all, but I could just tell that she wasn't. And so we finished the call and I immediately texted her, are you okay? And then she proceeded to tell me that you did the exact same thing, Bex. You were like, what's going on? Are you okay? We have forged this bond to where we can tell by facial expressions, body language, because we're tuned in enough, but we've been around each other enough and have fostered that we can tell. That is similar to even what you talked about in your masterclass. It's what I talked about in my podcast last week about how we build trust with each other. Those little marbles that we have built for each other have allowed us to support each other as scaffolding in our grief too. It's cool.
My mind goes to other stages of my life where I didn't have this. I felt lonely as fuck. I did not have close friendships. So now I'm getting the ping of those people listening who are like, damn, this sounds really nice. How do I get that? Good for you, but maybe I'm envious is coming up. So what would you say to the woman feeling that right now?
I think when you do the work on yourself. I think that is what it is. It's like when you do the work on yourself, it gives you space to authentically know yourself. And then it gives other people permission to do the same. We authentically know each other. We know our capacities and blind spots, but there's no judgment, only love. But you can't do that for other people if you can't do that for yourself.
There's sometimes judgment.
There is, but it's so funny. Like, as you're saying that, Erin, I'm thinking about all
there's judgment, but it's in love.
The reason we've been able to get here, why we're able to invest in each other so well and so much, is because we did the work on ourselves. We learned how to have a relationship with ourselves first so that we could learn how to culture a relationship with another human. You've done that in your marriage. We do that in a lot of our relationships, but that's how we get here. And what's so crazy is little things that Erin she'll be like, oh yeah, Julie's getting her afternoon coffee. She knows my schedule. She just remembers, How do we have space for that in our brain? Because we've released a lot and we continue to allow ourselves to release in real time, we have energy to hold other stuff. We remember things. That's the crazy thing. So anyway, Random Thoughts by Julie Brumley. You're welcome.
I'm also single, and so I don't have to remember anybody else's stuff.
True, as am I. So yeah, very, very similar in that.
Like on the phone today with insurance, I'm not married. I don't have a spouse. I'm like, who's she talking to?
Oh, that was funny. I was like, why does everything have to be so married focused? Yeah.
It does. That's a different topic for a different day.
I'm grieving that.
It's real though. Would you say anything else other than that, Becky?
No, I like that. We really do attract what we become. My mom's greatest quality, if I had to pick just one, was her ability to make people feel safe and accepted. She was everyone's safe space. My cousins who couldn't tell their parents the real stuff, she was just always so radically accepting. I remember after she died, Sebastian said, that's you. That is in you. You are that for other people. And then you know what I first thought of when he said that was you guys, like, whoa, that's how I got a Julie, an Erin, a Courtney. I attracted friends like that, and I get that back from you. So that's all I would say, that you become the energetic match for what you want in your life. So if you're feeling like I don't have friendships like that yet, start with yourself, like Julie and Erin was saying, and see what moves into your world. Start asking for it, start moving towards it.
Yeah. Amen. So what would you guys say to the person who is grieving this holiday season, trying to focus on healing timelines and what's wrong with me? Why am I not healed yet? Like, why does this feel so hard?
Nothing's wrong with you. Whatever it is that you're feeling is normal and honestly healthy, depending upon what it is. And that, like we talked about at the beginning, making space for yourself in it and allowing yourself to be with it. This is the thing. What's hard when we're in that and we don't have the people to come alongside us, it can feel daunting to do that. And so I would say with that, if you don't have those people, then maybe go to grief recovery groups at churches, find the community, find a grief recovery specialist, or talk to us. We'll direct you somewhere. There are things you can do if you're feeling alone in it, for sure. but it's learning how to be with yourself and process through it and allow it to be released from your body so that you can energetically draw in what we've drawn in here.
Yeah, I would just say me too. This is a rough season for me. I don't know if I have advice. I love what Julie said. I would just say, when you're crying, even if you feel alone, just know I'm crying in my bathroom too. And that whole idea Julie mentioned of sitting Shiva, it's a Jewish culture. When somebody passes on, you visit and you sit with those who are mourning, and we don't do that really well in Western culture, but we use in Root to Rise, we try to cultivate that. We sit Shiva with each other and just the Me Too energy.
The beginning of getting in tune is noticing what grief actually does feel like. For me, it was the elephant on my chest and I couldn't breathe, right? How does it show up in your body? And if you can notice that, then you go, oh, I know what this is. Because a lot of times this will show up and people will be like, what? Why am I feeling this way? Because they're just so not in touch. So if we begin to pay attention and try our hardest to get, which is really difficult, to get out of our head, we're such a in our head society, but begin to connect with what our body is actually telling us, we'll learn a lot.
I think the last thing I would say is this has taught me that love really doesn't have to end. I mean, I'm just going to speak for myself in the context of my mom died, is it doesn't have to end. It really does just transform and take new form. And that's always been really hard for me, especially even talking in like an attachment lens language, right? The anxiously attached, it's that fear of disconnection. I feared this moment for so long of losing my mom, and I'll go into this deeper on a different episode when I feel ready to talk about it, but I have still felt so connected to her, heard her voice the whole way through the dying process. And after, it feels not as good. It's not good enough. Like, I just want to be able to hug you again and hold your warm hand and see you breathing. And this is like exercising a muscle that is not strong yet, but I am trusting that I can still have connection with my mom, even though she's on the other side and that she's right here. It's an opportunity to learn with grief that love doesn't end. It can just change forms.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Love
So
that.
cool.
I think that's a great way to end it.
Yeah.
If you do.
This has been awesome. I'm glad we got to have this conversation.
Me too. I really have to pee now.
Please end it with that.
And please keep that in there. Yeah.
Love y'all.
Thank you so much for listening today. I hope getting a glimpse into what it is like to sit Shiva with your friends in their grief was helpful for you today. If you feel like you need further support, you can find me on all the socials, every single one of those platforms I'm on. Y'all, you can DM me there. Just drop the word grief. And I would love to provide you with any support that you need right now, especially heading into the holidays. These can be some of the hardest times, specifically for adopted people. So I want to be here to support you if that is something that you need. Just let me know. I love having conversations with y'all, and happy to be here for you this Thursday and every Thursday as we spend time together on the Resilience Project podcast. So look forward to talking to you guys soon, and have a great Thursday.